It's Cricbuzz Chatter. Adam Collins and Michael Vaughan at the end of a desperately disappointing final day at Old Trafford. Not a single ball bowled. The test match drawn. The Ashes retained by Australia, but we miss out on our grandstand finish.
Yeah, we do. I mean, I guess the forecast for the weekend was always poor. Saturday we got a little bit of cricket in, more than we expected. I thought we were going to get a bit more cricket on the last day, but it's Manchester, the weather. It's been heavy at times, drizzle, light drizzle. Thought there was going to be a moment in the morning where we might get a bit of cricket, but it's such a desperately disappointing end. I know the Ashes have got one more game to go, but this series has had everything. You know, it's had such drama, great talking points, debates, controversy. It just feels that this is not the right way. It just feels like England have dominated the game. They deserve to win this Test match. It deserved to be 2-2 going down the final straight. We all needed that last Test match. The game of cricket needed it. Test cricket, world cricket. We as commentators needed it. So it just feels like it's like the balloon's just had that needle pressed into it, and it's all become very deflated. Australia will be delighted. They came here to retain the Ashes first and foremost. They've now got to think about, can they do what they didn't do in 2019? It was here that they won, went to make sure that they retained it in 19 and didn't win the Ashes with that loss at the last game at the Oval. They've got a chance to make sure that they put right what they didn't quite do in 19. England got to make sure that they try and draw now.
Yeah, to deal with Australia first. I mean, they've retained the Ashes and they're delighted to an extent, but you can tell from Pat Cummins after play today that they want to win in England for the first time since 2001, and that was their mission, to win the World Test Championship final and to complete the job here against England in ways that teams before them haven't been able to do. In 2019, they celebrated so hard after winning at Old Trafford to retain that they were a bit flat at the Oval. And, you know, Cummins has spoken about that, that they missed a great opportunity there to be that team doing that thing. A number of the guys on this tour won't return to England again. So they've got a lot of motivation going to the Oval. Might be a snifter harder for England having come this far, having nearly been kind of like going into the fifth set of a Grand Slam tournament where you've got all the momentum riding into the decider, whereas now next week the best they can hope for is a Desmond 2-2.
Yeah, and England will go for that. They'll play the same brand of cricket. I'd be interested what team arrives for England. You know, Chris Woakes looks like he's got a niggle. Cam Mark would play 3 on the bounce. He hasn't really done that often in the past. Will Jimmy Anderson play? Probably may play now because of the situation. Josh Tongue probably come in. Can Stuart Paul play 5 on the trot? So I think there's so many questions. Will Sam Curran get added as an all-rounder if Chris Woakes is going to be missing out? So I think there's plenty of debate on the England kind of team selection. Australia have got a chance. I mean, in a 5-match series, I always say that the best team ends up winning, you know, because it's 5 games and you might have 1 or 2 iffy games, but over 5 Test matches, the best team always comes out on top. At the minute, after 4 Test matches, I believe England have been the better team. Yeah. You know, I really do think England have played better cricket. Australia have hung in there. Yes, they won those first 2, but Australia have got to put that right at the Oval. They've got to go down there and play with more positivity. If they play like they've played in Manchester, Australia, they're going to get blown away. Even if England have to change 1 or 2 players, I think they'll get blown away at the Oval. So the Aussies will be interested with their mentality. They've got one last push. Surely you find a bit of energy when you know you haven't won here since 2001. And you've got players in that side that have never won here. And you've got legends in the team: Smith, Warner, Cummins, Hazelwood, Stark, Nathan Lyon, who's not here, but he deserves a bit of a mention because he's a part of this group, even though he's not played obviously too much in this series. I just wonder, with someone like David Warner, will it be his last Test match? I know he's announced his announcement of maybe playing till Sydney. I just wonder whether Warner might feel that if Australia go to the Oval and they win the Ashes here, I wonder if he'll go, that's me done.
Yeah, in fact, on that note, let's go into the hot spot. In the hot spot, that's exactly where I was going to take it, with Warner, but also the Australian group as a whole. You come through and you peak at different points of the Test team. A lot of your 05 stuff's been on telly over the last few days during rain delays. That was a side that was peaking at the perfect time from a 3 or 4 year build-up. This has kind of been that for this Aussie team, especially since Pat Cummins took over a couple of years ago. I wonder just how many of these Australians won't be here in 4 years' time, and whether there might be 1 or 2 who we haven't even thought of yet in the short term.
Yeah, you know, when you're on a long tour and it's draining, it's hard, and you're so close to doing something very, very special. If they get the job done, it wouldn't surprise me if 2 or 3 of them decided to go. What a way to go, winning in England. We've beaten England in Australia many, many times, but to do it here in the UK, to do it overseas is always that much more difficult. And you know, Warner, Smith maybe. I'm just throwing a few names. I've no idea, I'm just guessing. But someone like David Warner, who's already announced he's going to retire, I just wonder if he'll think at the Oval, if it goes well, and he's there on the podium. He's going to be there with the urn, whatever happens. But having won here, I just wonder whether, I don't know what the bowlers are thinking either. There's a few older bowlers start maybe who might just think that it's time to just go and play white ball cricket. All these talking points will be over the next few days, but Australia have got a great chance. I mean, England, they play such an expansive game, they play so aggressively, but I just think they'll be so flat. They'll be so flat because they deserve the right to be 2-2 going down the final stretch. And as I said yesterday, I really feel if England had won here, they'd have won at the Oval. Yeah. And they may still win at the Oval, and they might still put in a great performance, and I expect them to play that aggressive game. But I just know what this team's all about. It's about winning big series, and I'll be interested to see what their mindset is leading into. Baz McCullum will gee them up. He'll get them going. He'll say, come on, we go again. But subconsciously, when you know it can't be won, sometimes it can be quite difficult, particularly when you're an aggressive team.
All right, then, from a sad and sodden Old Trafford, we say goodbye on Cricbuzz Chatter, but we'll be there next week at the Oval. Adam Collins, Michael Vaughan. Till then, bye-bye.